Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be the final biomechanical speed lesson. It's all about timing. So let's just go back through what we went through already. I'm going to start with essentially the X factor, which is stretching, leaving the core engaged, the legs stay in place, and we turn until the hips come along so that we have a stretch through our psoas, QL, lats, etc. Within that lesson, we were talking about the backswing a little bit and how we turn under. The more under we turn, the more that stretch happens. With our feet straight from there, if we keep going, the heel comes off the ground. That's phase 2. And then we can stomp, create additional torque and lag in the swing, right? And again, our X factor stretch is about getting this arm as far out as possible. So think John Daly, Kyle Berkshire. And from there, once we get to here, get that arm back, our heel's off the ground, we stomp the heel, we come down, we have a sequence. In order to speed that sequence up, we speed up the takeaway, and then that creates a lot more lag, a lot more swing power, etc., etc. So the hardest part about this is timing it, because essentially we're putting ourselves in a position where our swing plane is, we're coming out of it, we're standing up, and we have to get back into the swing plane to hit it properly. So for those of you that are trying to add distance to your swing and you really want to get good at this, what you have to learn is there's a small timing element to essentially where you stop the hands and allow the club head to pass the hands. And it feels like you stop here and do this. That's not what you're doing, but that's essentially how you get the shaft deflection to speed the shaft up even further, right? So what we're essentially doing is we're going to pressurize the shaft and then release it back. It's going to feel like back here, which is for a lot of golfers going to be hard to do because it's a flipping feel. It feels as though you're flipping the club, but it's the only way to really time it because our motor cortex is not fast enough to time it at the ball or even beyond the ball. We have to release all of our angles early, or what feels like early, so that our timing is correct. And it'll look a little something like this. So I'm just going to kind of practice it for a second, where do the leg kick, pull, stomp, release, release. So I'm actually trying to release. So if we were to think of it as a clock, we're trying to release, if this is 12 o'clock, we're trying to release around 2 o'clock. All right. So let's go ahead and see if I can pull this off. Again, you want this left foot to be straight. So normally I flare it out, but for this movement, we want it straight so that I can biomechanically get more internal hip rotation so that I can really use the ground to pressure to come up through the strike, jump, and send that power late. All right. So all of our angles are there. We're going to kick the knee, fling it, and then see what happens. Again, I'm going to release it here, or what feels like there. And there you go. So even though I felt like I was releasing it here, that was very square contact. So again, it's knee kick or internal hip rotation, fling, X factor stretch, so we're holding the hips until the foot comes off the ground, and then we're stomping that foot and releasing the club behind us. I know it sounds crazy, but it works. Make sure this toe's straight too. That's something I don't do naturally, so I have to remind myself to do it. I was a little bit toey, but pretty solid strike there. Yeah, I mean, we got 280 carry, so no big deal. About 163 ball speed. Of course, I'm not giving it my all. I'm trying to demonstrate how this is done. All right, so the next thing we have to do is we have to find a way to take this to the golf course where it's not completely out of control. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to sequence everything together very slowly and add speed a little bit at a time. So we're going to start at about 50% speed. Again, it's knee kick, fling, X-factor stretch, foot off the ground, stomp, release. Okay? Nice and slow. About 50% effort there, pretty solid. We got 160 ball speed. Something you may have noticed there was that when I stomped, I came out of the strike. The reason for that being is because the mass is moving so quickly against us when we release from here. It wants to go out to first baseline. We have to get out of the way to square it back up. Yeah, so that was 160 ball speed at about 50% effort. So now we're just going to add a little bit extra, go to about 60%. And again, we're working on the sequencing. That's everything in this shot. Okay, that was pretty bad. Didn't come through. That release was pretty terrible, so we got to do another one. I'm not going to sit here and hit a whole bunch of balls for you because I'm going to end up either hurting myself or wearing myself out. So I'm just going to leave you with your homework here. What I want you guys to do is go 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 to 100%. And then on your final one, I want you to try and get a little bit faster than that. So Jack Nicklaus, his coach Jack Grout, used to make him hit the last 10 balls of his range session as hard as he could. He didn't care where it went. I recommend that for younger guys. If you're a little bit older, let's keep it to 5. Try not to go 110. You know, just give it a good whack, and you'll slowly build up speed over time. But just to show you guys, I'm going to give you the full treatment on this next one. There we go. So that had the stuff on it. Yeah, we got 176 on that one. So just understand that this doesn't come overnight. It's not going to be easy. So take your time. Don't injure yourself. Really learn step number 1, which is that X-factor stretch. Get that right elbow as far back behind as you can. From there, you can start extending it, getting the foot off the ground and stomping. Then from there, once you're in that position, now we can bring it back to address and fling it to get that right elbow even further back, right? And then finally, we have to release it here so that everything squares up and has good timing. Once we get to the course, when we want to pull this out, the sequencing is what's going to add the speed. We're never going to swing over 80% with this on the course. You're welcome to do it on the range, but on the course, just keep it to 80%. So look a little something like this. So we're still in balance, but we have a lot of speed. And yeah, we got 170 ball speed there. So that's how we add speed. It's basically 30 degrees outside today, well, 40 with the sun out. These balls have been sitting out all night. This club's 3 years old. I can assure you, if you get the sequencing right, you're going to pick up 10 miles an hour just from that alone. So that's the 4 phases. Again, back to my onion theory on golf. Each layer is going to unveil secrets and a little bit of speed at a time. By the time you're all said and done, you're going to pick up natural speed with your normal swing, and then you're going to have a little extra in the tank to add with ground pressures, etc., once it's all said and done. So hope you guys enjoyed. Luckily, I didn't get injured. Please don't get injured. Take care of yourself. Go slow with this. And like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think.